The good news for Tiger Woods, he hit the longest tee shot of the day on Thursday when he drove the ball off the 14th tee, 412 yards. The bad news is it was pretty much the highlight of his day. Tiger finishing 6 over par. His quest to make the cut looks like it's going to fall short of the old course at St. Andrews. Taking a look at Tiger's last 5 major finishes. Now, this particular season, he has made the cut at the Masters, the PGA Championship, but he withdrew after that and then decided not to play in the U.S. Open to prepare himself for the Open Championship at St. Andrews. And we have a double dose of the First Cut podcast. Mark Immelman joining us here to talk about Tiger Woods. Mark, what did you see out of Tiger yesterday? Got off to that tough start with a great drive on one, the divot, and then it just sort of snowballed from there.
Yeah, that bad fortune on the first hole where the ball was in a divot hole, sandy-filled divot hole, which makes it even harder, really, was emblematic of the day. He had some decent shots, but sort of got on the wrong sides of some of the slopes, and with the way the golf course played in round one, with it firm and fast and the ball rolling out, you had to really be in control of your trajectory. And I thought the swing wasn't really on point for Woods. He looked a little rusty, to be honest. But the whole round, apart from that horrid break in the first, can be chalked up to 35 putts. You know, one of the keys to playing the old course with these big greens well is good lag putting and good holding out from like 4, 5, 6 feet. And he had a few 3 putts and could not capitalize on a few good iron shots. So it was a hard day. And this morning, early coverage, he just looked a little lethargic. Number of irons were missed off to the right, not right of the target, but just wide right of shots he should have taken care of, especially on that opening run of holes 1 through 11 or so. He just hasn't forced the ball in there because right now the scoring is good and he's languishing at like 1 over for the day.
Tiger Woods said, quote, "It started for me in 95, and if it ends here in 22, it does." So hopefully we see Tiger more, but of course may not see him beyond today. Cameron Young was the clubhouse leader at 8 under after his fantastic opening round. Went to bed as the leader, woke up as the leader, Mark, but as he tees it up, he will not be the leader at the moment. Dustin Johnson with that distinctive title there because he had himself a nice round. What did you see out of DJ today?
Well, what I saw out of DJ was a guy who's played well here before. In fact, in 2015, shot 65 and 69 and was leading the Open through 36 holes. Stumbled over the weekend, but really, you know, looking pretty sharp throughout. And the main thing for Dustin Johnson, because we know he can hit it, is making those sorts of putts. But what's playing in his favor right now, in my opinion, was with some overnight rains. The course is a little softer, and they keep the greens slower because of the wind. And now there's no wind right now, and so the course is essentially defenseless, and players have no real fright factor on these greens. So you can hit putts hard. The farthest you'll roll the ball beyond the cup is a couple 3 feet, and he's holed out really well. So beautiful day, beautiful 2 days he's played, and I think primed for a good showing over the weekend, a bounce back showing given what happened in 15.
Finishing with birdies at both 9 and 18 for Dustin Johnson, carding that 67, 5 under for the day. What about Scottie Scheffler? Is also making a nice push up near the top of the leaderboard. What do you think about the world number 1 at the moment?
He's the most unassuming, likable world's number 1, I think, in the history of ever. And that's with respect to Rory and Faldo and all these guys that have held that lofty mantle. I mean, he just plays the game with such a flair. And the beauty about Scottie Scheffler, he's just all about competition. He's not too worried about technique. He's certainly not worried about social media. In fact, he doesn't even get on this stuff. And so he just gets out there, loves to play, loves to compete. And I heard a really cool anecdote. He and his wife, Meredith, were just walking around the old course late in one of the practice rounds, and the folks were filling divot holes in the fairways. And the two of them went up and thanked the green staff for what they were doing. So it sort of speaks to who he is, and he's just loving the Open, loving the golf here. And with Ted Scott at his side, man, these guys have got a fantastic record they're assembling, and he doesn't look like he's afraid of anything right now.
Has an opportunity to win the Masters and the Open Championship in the same year, specifically St. Andrews. Tiger Woods, of course, accomplishing that in 2005. Mark, as we continue to watch the round unfold, what are you looking out for with some of the afternoon groups, particularly a golfer or two, or maybe something more trending with the course here?
Well, what you always look for at a links golf course with its maritime climate is what's the weather going to do? Because this morning It was Chamber of Commerce out there. Now, granted, it was a little cold. You saw folks with the woolen hats and stuff, and the ball wasn't traveling as far. But, the golf course was soft and somewhat receptive. And even with some difficult hole locations, the scoring was rampant. So I'm just keen to see what happens with the wind for the afternoon. It's supposed to pick up to about 10 mile an hour. But right now, I still feel like it's there for the taking. And if the leaders, Cam Young, Rory McIlroy, Cam Smith, can get out there and play that first stretch of holes, 1 through 12, in a few under, they're primed to build on where they are. But if you don't get off to that good start, I don't care who you are and how well you're playing, the final stretch of holes, 13 through 18, they're tricky and they're challenging and they can trip you up real fast. So I'm watching for the wind and I'm watching for how the leaders from yesterday begin their second round.
The sun is out. The only guy yesterday I saw did not wear a hoodie or sweater all around was Shane Lowry, and more guys today opting for the typical polo. Mark, certainly appreciate it. First Cut Podcast, the guys, of course, keeping you covered. Greg Ducharme, Rick Gaiman, Mark, and Kyle, of course. And we've heard from 2 of the 4 today. Bad advice, round-by-round recaps, and DFS as well. First Cut Podcast has you covered.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.